Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
My name is Ellen Marshall. I am 27 years old. I am going to tell you the story of my life. Whether I was right or wrong is up to you to decide. I was 7 when my mother Felicity left. The memory is faint in some places and sharp in others, like a photograph that's been burned around the edges. I remember her perfume, sweet but heavy, and the sound of her heels fading down Jefferson Street as she walked away from our small yellow house. My father, Wilfred, stood motionless by the doorway, his calloused hands gripping the frame. He didn't cry then. He waited until I was asleep. Years later, I understood the weight that fell on his shoulders that night. He worked double shifts at the mill, came home smelling of oil and sweat, and still found time to teach me multiplication at the kitchen table. "You'll be stronger than both of us, Ellie," he'd whisper, his voice hoarse from exhaustion. "Promise me that." I did, and I meant it. By 16, I was cleaning diners before school and tutoring neighborhood kids afterward. The ache in my back became a part of me, but so did my determination. Every scholarship form I filled out felt like another door creaking open. Doors my mother had slammed shut when she left. One evening, while reviewing college applications, I found an old photograph wedged between the pages of a dictionary. It was her, Felicity, smiling beside a stranger in a city I didn't recognize. On the back, written in her delicate script, "New beginnings." My stomach twisted. New beginnings for her had meant endings for me. "Dad," I called softly that night, holding the photo. "Did she ever write to you?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "No, Ellie. She made her choice, and we made ours to survive." I wanted to hate her, but something deeper than anger burned inside me, an emptiness that no success could fill. When I left Jefferson City for college years later, I looked back one last time at that small yellow house, its windows dim in the early morning light. I promised myself I'd never let anyone make me feel abandoned again. But I didn't know then that ghosts don't stay buried forever. Some return not for forgiveness, but for what they think they're owed, and mine was already on her way back. Years passed. I became a financial manager in San Diego and built a successful, independent life. The girl who once scrubbed diner floors before dawn now managed portfolios worth millions. My apartment overlooked the bay, glass walls, soft light, and a silence that I once mistook for peace. Yet sometimes when the city hushed at night, I still heard my father's voice telling me to stay strong. It was a quiet Saturday morning in San Diego, the kind that smelled of coffee and ocean breeze. I was reviewing a client report when a sharp knock echoed through my apartment. 3 knocks, firm, deliberate. For a moment my heart stumbled. No one ever knocked like that. When I opened the door, time folded in on itself. There she was, Felicity Marshall, my mother. Gray streaks cut through her once golden hair, but her eyes, those sharp, calculating blue eyes, hadn't aged a day. "Ellen," she said, as if my name still belonged to her. "You've done well for yourself." Beside her stood a girl about 19, arms crossed, nails lacquered pink, chewing gum as if the world owed her something. "This is Serena," Felicity announced, "your sister." The word sister lodged in my throat like a splinter. "I think you've made a mistake," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Whatever this is, it's 20 years too late." Felicity smiled thinly, stepping inside without permission. "I'm not here to argue, darling. I just need a bit of help. Times have been rough." She handed me a folded piece of paper, numbers scrawled across it. $2,700 a month, and Serena's college tuition, $55,000. Serena smirked. "It's not that much for someone like you." My hands trembled. "You left us," I whispered. "You didn't even come to Dad's surgery, didn't even show up at his funeral. Nothing. And now you show up with a price tag?" Felicity's expression hardened. "Don't speak to me like that. You owe me. I gave you life." The words sliced through me. I could barely breathe. "No," I said quietly, my voice breaking. "You gave me abandonment. My father gave me life." Her smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of rage. "You'll regret this," she hissed. Then she turned and walked out, Serena's gum snapping like a cruel metronome behind her. The door closed, but the echo of that knock stayed in my chest, warning me that the past had only just begun to knock back. A week passed, but the unease refused to leave. I tried to bury myself in work, Yet every time my phone buzzed, I half expected it to be her. Felicity. The woman who'd once called herself my mother. It began with small things, password reset emails I hadn't requested, an odd charge on my credit card, a strange login attempt from Missouri. My gut twisted. Something was wrong. That night, I sat at my desk, scrolling through security logs. Then I froze. My late father's email, one I'd kept active only for sentimental reasons, had been accessed. From her old address. I opened the inbox, and my blood ran cold. Sent items showed dozens of messages, requests for financial details, my salary, even my tax records, all written as if my father were still alive. Felicity, I whispered, trembling. You didn't just come for money, you came for everything. I called my friend Brandon in a panic. Check if someone's been trying to breach my accounts, I said. Minutes later, his voice came back through the speaker, tight with disbelief. Ellen, this isn't just phishing. They cloned your email. Someone's been running scripts to access your financial systems. They knew exactly what they were doing. Tears burned my eyes. She's trying to destroy me. He hesitated. Helen, whoever it is, they had personal info, stuff only family would know. The word family cut deeper than any code breach. I remembered Serena's smirk, Felicity's calm entitlement. My own bloodline was trying to rob me. At midnight, I received a final email from an unknown address. Should've just paid up, sweetheart. I stared at the screen, hands shaking. The fear turned into something sharper, resolve. I wiped my tears and whispered, You think you can hack my life, Felicity? You just declared war. That night, I began documenting every trace, every login, every threat. The woman who'd once abandoned me had now crossed into a battlefield she could never win. By morning, the line between family and enemy had vanished. I arrived at my lawyer's office clutching a folder thick with screenshots, timestamps, and emails, proof that my mother and half-sister had tried to break into my accounts. My stomach churned as I sat across from Mr. Hanley, a calm man with silver hair and kind eyes. He flipped through the pages in silence before looking up. Ellen, this isn't just harassment, it's cybercrime. We'll file for a restraining order and notify the authorities immediately. His words felt surreal. My mother, my own blood, was about to face criminal charges. I swallowed hard. She used my father's old email, Hanley. She pretended to be him. That broke me. The tears came, unstoppable. She stole his voice, even after he was gone. Hanley handed me a tissue. You're doing the right thing. Sometimes justice begins where family ends. That afternoon, I sat in the courthouse, my hands trembling as I signed the paperwork. Every pen stroke felt like a betrayal, but a necessary one. When the judge's gavel came down, granting a temporary restraining order, I exhaled for the first time in days. 2 weeks later, the police confirmed digital traces leading directly to Felicity's and Serena's devices. They had used stolen credentials, bank phishing attempts, the works. When the officers visited them, Felicity called me screaming, her voice cracking through the phone. How dare you drag your family into court? You'll regret this, Ellen. I stayed silent, my heart breaking and hardening all at once. This isn't family, I whispered finally. This is gang of thieves. The call ended with her sobbing curses, but I didn't cry anymore. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the abandoned child. I was the woman who had finally locked the door on the past. Felicity and Serena were sentenced to 3 years in prison. Months passed and silence finally settled where chaos once lived. Felicity and Serena faded into the distance, restrained by law, rejected by the very greed that drove them. I changed my accounts, my number, even the locks on my door. But the wound they left behind was deeper than any password could protect. Healing came slowly. My father's old friend, Mrs. Turner, invited me for dinner every Sunday. You still have people who care, she'd say, sliding an extra slice of pie onto my plate. My boyfriend Brandon stopped by often, making me laugh when I thought I'd forgotten how. One evening, I stood before my father's photo and whispered, You were right, Dad. Strength doesn't come from blood, it comes from choice. That night, I launched the Wilfred Foundation, a scholarship for underprivileged kids. It felt like closing a circle, rewriting the story my mother had tried to destroy. When the first thank you letter arrived from a girl named June, I smiled through tears. I'll make you proud, she'd written. I whispered back, looking at the letter, you already have, sweetheart. And for the first time I realized the family I lost had only made room for the one I chose.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.